Morning, everybody. I did a quick video this morning. I hadn't done one in a few days. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody understands. We have to give thanks. I have to give thanks every day. Heck, I think we ought to be giving thanks in our every thought, in our every breath. What the Lord's done for us. But not everybody does. Not everybody does. Morning, Alex. Morning, guys. But I was just thinking yesterday, you see, all the truther videos of all the lies, all the deceit, all the corruptness. You see all that stuff and you're like, oh, wow. Is there any good news? Is there anything to be thankful for? And it's silly, the people in the material world, I'm thankful for my car. I'm thankful, well, yeah, you need a car. I'm thankful. Well, sure, yeah. I mean, the kind of thankful that comes from salvation. Do what?
You let them in?
I'll let them in a little bit if they start barking. If they start that crap again, I'll let them in. But I don't know about other folks around the country, but here in Southeast Texas, excuse me, it has turned chilly. Looking for your coffee cup, dear? You don't know where you left it. You can use my other one on the back of the sink right there.
What are you using?
I'm using this one.
I brought it home.
You brought it out somewhere.
It's not like it.
It's not in the dishwasher. Sorry, guys. We're having a morning coffee cup hunt here. Much like the Easter egg hunt, but can be done daily. Maybe just use that other one. I didn't know you were getting up, or I'd have gone ahead and made you some. Sorry, guys. It's not there, dear. I'm seeing it. I'm looking too. I don't see it.
What did you do more than that?
You do what?
Damn it.
She's almost like about a 6-year-old when she gets up in the morning, stumbling around like a zombie.
Your coffee pot's underneath there, too.
My what?
Your coffee pot.
I broke something? It's not in there. Oh. Why won't you use that one on the back of the sink?
Okay.
Wow, I'm taking that personally now. I'm reading your comments here, guys. Right, exactly. Right. Right, that was one of the, that's exactly what I was thinking. It's just like, wow. For those of us who are saved, in the know, understanding the situation we're in, it'd seem we'd have a little more empathy and compassion for those who don't get it yet. But what do you do? They're gonna. I've noticed they've already started prepping us for a bad winter about supply chains and expect to not be able to get certain things for Christmas. And they're prepping us. Hey, Alan. Yeah, it is a pretty morning. It is nice and chilly. Fall has hit here in Southeast Texas. That's what I was going to say a while ago. Trying to put the link in there. If anybody wants to come on, got anything to say? Where's Nashville? I don't know.
He's outside.
Okay. Yep. All of them, but these three are still outside.
And it's only Nashville.
Okay.
Diesel wouldn't get up.
Diesel would not get out of bed. Lazy Mexican. Yeah, I said it. My chihuahua. He's a lazy little Mexican. It's siesta all day. There's no such thing as scheduled siesta time for Diesel. It's all day, every day. But as I was saying, you see this stuff, it's like, wow, no wonder there's so much tension out there. No wonder people are getting so upset. It's just, man, negative. I'd always said news broadcasts, they're kind of their template had been, sports, bad stories, local. And then the last thing would be a little feel-good story. And the last 20 seconds of the newscast, you see, is a feel-good story about a local yada yada, whatever. Oh, how nice, and they just numb you with all this crazy shit. And then they go, oh, and a kitten was saved out of a tree yesterday, and and a memorial was put up, for all lost kittens. And everybody's like, oh, they leave you with this. Oh, that was really nice. While all the trauma has already been embedded. It's like, it's a perfect formula. I was watching the Days of Noah, new one last night. Get ready for this. Y'all need to start listening for this word. Circular economy. Circular economy. And there's Alan. Alan is coming on. Morning, Alan.
Good morning, Tommy.
How are you?
I'm excited. I'm good. It's 49 degrees here.
Right.
I woke up at 5 o'clock and, checked the time and temperature. It was 5 o'clock. It was 60 degrees. At 5:30, it was 55 degrees. And now at 6:02, it's 49 degrees. We lost 10 degrees in the last hour.
Right. Remember, we felt it the other day a little bit.
The only reason I came on is later today, I'm probably going to remind people, and I wanted to remind you that, we're talking about the artificial intelligence cars and things like that. And the Lord showed me last night that, if this isn't a psyop, that all of a sudden there's supply chain things from the trucks, whatever the boats that carry 2,500 of those containers.
Right.
And now there's no truckers in America or the world to drive them, I guess, in England, Australia, India. So the answer is going to be self-driving trucks.
Certainly seems that way. They've certainly been talking about it over the last 5 or 6 years or so. Real, a whole bunch, and you've been hearing all the complaining and all the whining on both sides. I remember the first thing I heard was, you can't put them out there. What if something goes wrong? What if there's a glitch? They'll kill people. They'll just, those big trucks will just plow through and kill. And you're like, yeah, I mean, that is a good point. What if?
Right.
So, we all know our own GPS that we're driving along and all of a sudden you have no signal. What happens when you're an 18-wheeler fully loaded?
Yeah.
So but no, and there's no doubt they're wanting to get to a AI autonomous economy where we sit in virtual reality and the AI machines do all the work. But right before you came on, the Days of Noah deal last night, he was bringing out that white paper I forget who put it out, but basically it's talking about we got to get rid of all this whole economy, everything. We got to go to a circular economy. And there's a whole new definition of economy and how to do an economy. And it's a circular economy. And their basic premise is whatever materials you take and make a product, those materials should, at the end of the life of that product, be made into a new product without getting new materials from the earth. And then that product, when it's done its use, it becomes a whole nother product where they're saying you'll never have waste. There'll never be any waste. It's just circular. First thing you start with is the last thing you used it for. Just a whole circular thing. But the problem with that is there's no prosperity in that. There's no upward mobility. There's no expansion. It's just, if you make X and X becomes Y and Z in its lifetime, nobody needs to make X, Y, and Z until, the other one, first one is obsolete now. You're done with it.
Yeah, they got it all figured out. Maybe they have just enough material in the world to say we could sustain a population of 500 million, and that's all.
Right. But that's the funny part. They talk about this. Oh, this will be so simple. You just make your product from the beginning, to be reusable. You just do that. But they never say how you do this. They never have any idea of where to begin. Where do you begin? What's the first thing you're going to manufacture that when you're done with it, you take it and give it to somebody and they turn it into this product, and they're selling that product out the door, going the other way, and so on and so forth. I mean, it's a radical leftist utopian idea, right? Sure. I mean, it has no basis in any kind of logic, but I mean, it's one of those fantasies they have that, oh my goodness, we can take that refrigerator and when you're done with it, we'll turn it into a stereo system and we'll turn it into lights and we'll turn it into, and then those, we're going to turn those into a coffin.
This will keep your food cold, and then they'll bury you in it when you pass.
Right, there you go. Yeah, buy the new coffin / fridge.
No way to quantify it. How do you say when they're successful? How would we know how many babies have been saved from falling headlong into a 5-gallon bucket? Where's this? How do you track those statistics and say we all want to save that one life? It'd be worth it if it saved one life. Well, maybe it has saved, to say that every bucket company has to put that logo on there, warn everybody. And, how do you know it worked? How many parents said, oh boy, go empty that bucket in case Junior falls headlong into it?
No, that's one of the beauties.
That said, oh my gosh, I found my child face down in a 5-gallon bucket, but it's okay. I had emptied the water out.
Right. But that's one of those weak logic points of the left. And Days pointed out last night, they blame us for all the problems. And they say, look, we've had to come up with these solutions because you cause all these problems. And then when it doesn't work, they, just like with the whole scamdemic thing, they're like, you're not doing it right. You're not doing your part. This would be all long gone if you had only done what we told you. And it's that way on everything. It's our fault. Why don't we have renewable energies? Well, because we're wasteful consumers. We don't care. Well, how come we don't have this or that? Well, it's because you people, you want back it. You want your labor jobs. You want your jobs. We could save the environment, but you people, it's not them. And one of the good stats he had was that the top 1% of the elites, I'm talking the elites, they produce like 40% under their footprint of their, of their holdings, of their footprint, what they're responsible for. They create like over 40% of all the climate emissions, damaging commissions. But they're the ones that are going, you people, it's the same story. It's always them, and they blame it on us.
How many villages have to be living that life of zero emissions so Leonardo DiCaprio can fly around the world. And really, I've seen those statistics, and it seems like, oh, they're just picking on it, but, they're trying to warn the people. But in reality, one of those trips uses more than a village would be allowed for a whole year. But
well, I feel like their situation is about the same way as Christianity's right now. These people, they stand there and go, save the planet, emissions are bad, while just missing the whole point. They just flew in a jet, or they're, they're in a yacht or something. Well, I think it's the same way in the Christian community. We sit there and we look all around, go, look at all this world's terrible, but yet we can't come together. We want to complain about all the secularism and the materialism, but we can't come together as Christians. We can't come together under one, under one book, under one theology. Why do we expect the heathens, to act right? We can't pull it off ourselves.
Oh, Tommy, why? These ultimate questions, that's hard. The church,
we do have the moral high ground.
It's funny. You're right.
The book.
You're
We
right.
do have the instruction. We do know what we're supposed to do, but we won't.
But we know what we're told. We know that all women are beautiful, and that's what we're supposed to do. And we also know that lesbians have like the highest divorce rate in the world. And if you've ever seen two lesbians that break up, they don't think the other one's beautiful. They hate that person so bad, and it's just vicious. So they can't live up to their things. The Christians can't live up to their goals. But there is a Christian truth that we got to get to. It's out there. I'm not going to give up. I know that there is a true church out there that is the bride of Christ, and
right.
God will get them together.
The funny thing you say that about that community's divorces. When they started this whole push in the 80s for gay marriage, I remember early on, people were like, man, this is crazy. You're just going to make lawyers richer. You're just going to make lawyers richer. There are going to be more divorces in that community than in the heterosexual community by far. And they're going, no way, man. Ain't no way. We do this because we love each other. Y'all do it, for your sinful reasons. We love. And then, man, I remember it wasn't the first year and a half, 2 years, boom, 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 boom. The stories were everywhere, gay marriage, or gay divorce, stats are in the first 2 years, less than half of them were surviving a year, right?
Yeah. And even the ones that they painted up there is like, boy, this one is true love. Now, was it Ellen DeGeneres had this girlfriend, wife, supposedly a supermodel for years and years, and checked in on the show. They're so happy, adopted children. And the next thing you know, oh my gosh, it was a lie. They're divorcing, the happiest couple in the world. It was a lie.
Right.
Shocking. I'm shocked.
Right. But when you sit here and talk about what we talked about, but it's hard. You look at it and you're just like, oh, wow. But you still have to be thankful, for what the Lord has given us. We still have to, every breath we take, every step you make, I'll be watching you, right?
Yeah.
But, I look around and I catch myself taking it all for granted. I catch myself going, man, I'm doing this pretty good. I'm not doing too bad here. And, whoa, wait a minute. Just wait a minute. It ain't me. It ain't me. Thank you, Lord. It's not me. And, in your chat last night, I think, who was it? Was it Charlie from South America? From South Africa. Put in there about, the Bible does, Jesus says, unless you hate your mother and your father and your children and your wife, you can't love me. You just can't. And we all think, God, I could not hate those people. I can't hate them. Well, you got to realize the expanse of that love, right? You don't have to literally despise them, but you got to know I love God above you. I just
Right.
know. It's just you're here. He's here. That's it. It's not personal.
What I'm going to start looking at that verse as is that each one of us, me and you, I mean, we've talked about it. We all came to a point in our own life where we hated, I mean, because it does end, that verse ends it just like you feel about yourself. You know, we hated ourselves when we came to the Lord and realized, oh my goodness, we are that bad. We are that guilty. And we recognize that our loved ones are that guilty before God.
Right.
And that's not like, I don't hate them. I want to kill them. Jimmy, don't hire that guy's son. I can't stand it.
Right.
It's
Right.
just that we know they're as lost in sin as we are. That's what,
Right.
that's the hate part, you
Right.
know, is that they're not going to make it without full acceptance of Jesus Christ. We realize what our parents and children are like because we have been shown what we are like.
Right.
But we're to do good to all people. And my goodness, I honor my parents. I honor my family, even though I'm not with them right now, by living
Right.
the best Christian life I can, so that when they see my life unfold in heaven, they know my ulterior motives, and I will be known and be known by everyone.
Right.
So it's not really an active worldly hate, like I'm gonna.
Yeah. I'm not gonna stop when you're broke on the side of the road.
Right.
You know? I don't like you. You know, I love Lord, not you. Well, hey, Ashley, if you want to come on, the link is here in the chat. We hadn't talked since a couple of weeks ago, I guess it was last week or the week before. You always, you and your man, I forget his name. I'm terrible that way. Always have some good insight. So just putting that out there.
They're from
No,
Texas.
they're in Tennessee.
Oh, Tennessee.
Yeah, I believe they're in Tennessee.
Oh,
But
they're getting Ashley and Amy confused.
But the whole, you know,
I was thinking everybody cool lives in Texas.
Well, most of them. There's some outside. But you know, the whole just watching yesterday, it just kind of washed over me that no wonder it's hard to get people to come to Christ, because there ain't much to look out there and go, hey, I'm hearing you. You know, there is beauty out there. There is love. It is, it can be good. It's just hard. It's hard to swallow, man.
It's hard to believe how many people will encourage you and let you talk about the Lord, and then you find out later it's like, wow, they're into worshiping the dog planet Sirius, and
right.
Why didn't they just tell me? I'm not into it, man.
And for those of us, who are awake, golly, man, it's hard. It's hard to watch any news. It's hard to watch TV programs. You just see the propaganda. You see the manipulation.
I was going to ask you a question later when we see how they steer everybody, emotions, mass hypnosis, everything else. Because I'll ask you a question, Tommy. How many fashion designers do we really need in the world?
All right. Exactly. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Shalom. Hey, my little friends. How y'all doing this morning?
Good. You're right, Alan. I don't know if you heard that, Ashley. How many fashion designers do we need? How many? It's crazy.
How many cupcake designers or cake designers do we need that are going to be in the market for the $5,000 a cake wedding cake? And you want to have a school and start schools like, I'll teach you to make cupcakes for only $30,000. It'll take 2 years.
Right. Or you got the ones that just sit in a computer chair all day and they go through and bot you or something, they're getting paid for that. How many do we need of those? How many hackers do we need? How many fact checkers do we need paid? Like all these folks are just getting paid for what? We don't need all these folks. We need true ones.
Pushing propaganda, man. Somebody's got to do it.
Somebody got to do it. Who's
Yeah.
gonna do it? I guess
I
they
mean,
can't.
it's a business model. Okay. It's a plan. And, you know, without us complying and without us sitting at those desks and without us, you know, writing that policy and enforcing that policy, we're not where we're at today. But we have to do it. We've done it to ourselves. You just look across the board. We've done it to ourselves. It doesn't matter what it is, academia, religion, science. We've done it to ourselves. We sat back
The iniquity of the
take
father.
over all of our institutions. We've let them push the narrative. We knew the stuff was wrong. We knew it shouldn't be done that way. We knew it wasn't right, but we let it happen. It's our own fault. We knew better.
Tommy, I didn't want to let it happen.
Yeah, you didn't stop it. You didn't do anything to stop it.
Nobody would listen to me, man.
What'd you do to stop it? You know, and that's the way it goes, just down the road, man. Domino after domino. I didn't do anything. What'd you do? Nothing. Oh, well, I got upset. I didn't like it. But what did you do? You know, what did you do?
I kept voting pro-life. I kept voting.
No, voted pro-life. Exactly. That was all we could do, and they made us feel that way. They made us feel that way, that if you just vote pro-life or your values, you'll win in the end. It'll happen. You'll get your win. You know, when we did get a win, it ended up being a huge loss in the end. A huge loss. Christian community always loses ground. Always. Never gains
Well,
any.
it says that, you know, all nations will fall. You know, that includes America. You know, all nations will fall to the deception of the sorceries, the pharmakia of Babylon. You know, and that's, I mean, America is a young nation. I totally believe that it's one of the nations that, oh, of course it's one of the nations. There's only one nation that's going to stand. The government was placed on Yeshua's shoulders, Jesus' shoulders, in Isaiah chapter 11, and one government we are to be. One nation, a holy people, peculiar treasure, set apart. One body, not a separate nation. I don't call myself, yeah. Anyway, yeah. I totally agree with the things you're saying, bro. Totally.
Well, the whole verse, we struggle not with flesh and blood, but against, you know, principalities and stuff. Boy, that's really starting to come, you know, to light, is it not? I mean, it's all these entities you can't fight. It's paperwork here. It's red tape there. It's rules and regulations and policies. I mean, you're struggling against all this paperwork. I mean,
all this signing your contracts, signing your life away, just signing it away. You know, you're consenting. I do not consent.
Right. Yeah.
I don't comply. I don't consent. Right.
I'm tired of accepting cookies. I'm tired of accepting updates. I'm tired of accepting all of that stuff, man.
This is a great example of how bad this world is in. I went to my pain management doctor the other day, fill out my stuff, and they go, "Hey, we're going to need a urinalysis." You know, and I said, "What do you need a urinalysis for?" What's that? And they said, "Well, you know, the doctor requires it for everyone." And I said, "Well, I'm not going to be seeking any pain medicine or anything like that. I don't need any prescriptions." And the whole office went, "You're the kind of patient we look for." Wow, really? And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't need anything." Because 3 of the pages of like the 10 you fill out are all about, do I find myself getting prescription meds from friends or family? Do I find myself, having anxiety over my prescription running out? And it's all about drug abuse. It's all about mental health and stuff. And they were so surprised that I wanted nothing. I didn't even have a question about any. I already understood it. And the doctor himself, I talked to him about, I use frequency and ice and heat and, my inverter for my decompression. And he's frequency. And I show him on my phone. I start showing him stuff and he's reading and he tells his nurse, write that down. And I told him to research, Royal Rife, so he understands, the medical aspect of it and the application. And he was just totally intrigued. He was like, that's interesting, really. And I told him, I said, I had H. pylori. I a month or two ago, I had blood tests and I had H. pylori. And so I used frequency for about 2 weeks and I changed my diet, started getting, better enzymes and stuff for my stomach and bacteria. And I said, I'm all done. I'm good. And he's just like, wow. So this guy, when I go back, he may have a machine. He may have bought one. He was really interested in it, and so I'll be interested to see him the next time. I'm waiting for approval if I can get a epidural steroid injection. And, I'm going to turn, we talked about, the cannabis use, and in Texas, they have the compassionate use program, and it's not full blown cannabis. It's hemp, it's like 0.5% THC hemp. But the only way to get on that program is you have to have a cancer diagnosis, because the only doctors that are in the program are oncologists. Nobody else is in the whole program. And he and I talked about it, and I said, dude, you got to get in the program. You need to make the phone calls. You need to do your due diligence and talk to the state and go, look, I'm a pain management provider. I would like to have access to this program. I have some patients that could use it. And if they turn around and go, it's for cancer only, that's not true. They had revised the whole legislation a couple of years back, and they included people with seizure disorders like me, people with chronic, pain syndromes and stuff, things you can't do much about. The only thing they offer you is poison. And I told the guy, I'm not, I'll take the pain rather than take the poison.
Yeah.
The long-term effects of the poison are way worse than me sitting here, having the pains I'm having. I'm not into that. And he was all on board. He's like, oh, well, I'll check into that. I'll see. He said, you're a candidate. Obviously, you're a candidate for it. I said, my long-term goal, man, if I can't do pharmaceuticals for the next 20 years, I can't do that. I'm not gonna do that.
Are you just going are you just trying to get into the hemp program because of your doctors and stuff, or because just buying it from a buddy down the road, and not dealing with all the doctors, because what they do is put curses over you. They speak these curses, blessings and curses come from our mouth, and the tree, the tongue is a world of iniquity, sets the course of hell on fire.
Right.
It's a small little member, and it causes our body to sin more than anything else. And so these doctors, I won't go. I've dealt my whole life with doctors, many health problems my whole life. And I've been in mental institutions, and I've got government papers to prove my insanity. And I was told that I was going to have bad problems by the time I was in my 30s, with my hands and my body. I wasn't going to walk right, and my bones were going to get. They put curses over me. Told me I was going to be gave me papers saying I was bipolar and borderline schizophrenic. And I can tell you right now, my name is Ashley, and I have not had to take any of their medicine because of Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God, who removed that stuff from me, took me out of every one of those mental institutions and those doctors' offices, showed me that He is my medicine. His word is my medicine. Now, I do smoke weed, and it does help me. It helps me to get along through my day because I have pains in my day on a constant basis, constantly. But marijuana helps me to move. People smoke it to just chill and sleep. It helps me work. I smoke it to work,
See, and my motivation for getting on a program is so I can pinpoint exactly what I want. On the street, when I buy it on the street, I don't know what strain I'm getting. I don't know if it's a sativa or an indica. I don't know its potency levels. I don't know anything like that about it. Where when it comes to cannabis and the pharmaceutical application of it, you can literally get what you want in dosages, whether it be the cannabinoids, the CBD in it, the THC levels, sativa or indica. There's a whole bunch of factors involved in pain control and using it properly. When you buy it on the streets, it's hard to do that. Like what we've got right now, this is an indica. And Alan turns into a zombie about 1 o'clock every day. He'll be sitting out there in his chair and it's just, Alan.
Oh, me, for crying
No.
out loud. Can a
Or
man
he'll
not be
just
secret at
come out
all?
of the blue with something. You know, the dog was running in the middle of the road. What?
Yeah, space
What?
monkey. There you go.
So,
And
you know what I'm
you
saying? I
smoke
want to
pot
have
day or
control.
night.
I
You
need
smoke pot day
control.
or night for 30 years, and the next thing you know, you're branded.
Right, you're branded up on it.
Branded.
Right.
Got
But
a
you know
lot of
what I'm
it.
saying?
Let's count
I
down.
want that. I want that control where I can say, all right, I want to start here, and that how does this work? And if that doesn't work, switch to another one. If it works, stick with it. You know, use it
Yeah.
the way you're supposed to use it, not abuse it. You know, I'm not an abuser.
Yeah.
I'm a user. And you know, that's my motivation. And if they want to put spells or whatever over it and curse it, I pray over it when I smoke it before I get it and all that. So
No, I'm talking about the words that they put on us, cursing us, telling us, "Oh, we can't be healed."
your
from
syndromes,
something."
yeah, your
You know what I'm
illnesses and
saying?
your syndromes
Right,
and stuff.
right. They
Everybody
tell
gets
you that
labeled.
you can't be healed in Jesus. I mean, I rebuke you,
Right.
a disease. I rebuke you, sickness. You know, get out of my body. And you
Right.
know, before Jason came into my life, you know, I've got arthritis. I was diagnosed with juvenile arthritis when I was 8. And by the time I was in my 30s, they told me I had rheumatoid. I said that my whole life, brother. When Jason comes into my life, he shows me why you continue to allow that curse to come upon you through your own tongue. He says, speak against it, you know? So now if my hands get stuck when I'm working with something, you know,
Right.
I'll straighten my hands out and I'll be like, I rebuke you,
Right.
Satan. Well, normally I'll say, Lord, rebuke you, because, you know, Satan or Michael didn't even bring a railing accusation against me. But still, it's the body, you know, us taking those curses on. What if? What if
Right.
we've allowed these men to come into our lives and tell us these things about ourselves because our great great grandma had it and our uncle's brother's nephew had it, you know, and so now we have it.
Right.
What if we're allowing that curse from the iniquity of the fathers to step in us because we continue to say it to other people as well when we're talking to them about it? You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
We perpetuate the lie. We
Oh,
perpetuate
we
the
repeat the curse. I know that when I was told, you know, within 6 years you're going to be in a wheelchair, because I had spinal fusion. I was in a really bad accident, and they get, well, it's just that's the way it's going to be. I mean, that's crushing. You know, it's like, you know, what is the placebo effect? Why do they use it mentally, and why do they use it physically, knowing it's a placebo, Tommy? I mean, how much power do they?
Well, you know, when it's the placebo effect, and I'm glad you brought that up. I've thought about this before. I think there's two different sides to the placebo effect. I think there's one side for the secular world that they believe in the scientism so much that whatever you hand them, they believe will cure them, will make them better. Just like what made them sick, they believed that that's what was making them sick. So, you know what I'm saying? And then there's the other side of the Christian who's healed through prayer, and they say, yeah, placebo effect. You know, I mean, I think there's those two sides to it, where, you know, with our faith in God, if it wasn't for my faith, I would be a drug abusing alcoholic. Just I'd be terrible, because all my family encouraged, you know, you're in pain, why don't you get something for pain? Take pills, take a pill, take a pill. Why won't you? You know, what are you doing? You know, no. You know, the times I do break down and take one of Kathy's pills, I'm hurting real bad. You know, and I take it before I go to bed so I can get some sleep. But other than that, I mean, I've refused it because I could be terrible. Oh, I could be so terrible.
You could be like Butch Cassidy or something, like an outlaw.
Man, that stuff just numbs you to humanity.
Right,
And
it makes you zombie fied.
yeah, I didn't like the way it made me feel when the times I did use it. You know, and it always was such a balancing act of, well, I'm not getting any relief. Do I take another one? You take another one, then it goes too far, and my nose is itching, and my face is all itching, and my stomach's upset, and I'm like, oh, geez, now I got to suffer through this. God, now I'm hurting and I'm high. And I'm not high in a good way. I'm high in a dumb way. I'm sitting here, oh my God, my nose, it's so bad on that codeine and different stuff. Ugh, I just hate it. Don't like it at all. But my doctor's appointment was very encouraging. The guy listened. He actually put hands on me and checked me out, to see see my range of motion, things like that, reflex, all those things. Nobody other than my chiropractor ever does that, ever. They stay 6 feet away from you and go, okay, right. Do you want a prescription? No, I don't want a prescription. Well, okay, good luck. No offers of any help.
I had heard that the placebo effect wasn't discovered until World War II. And if my memory serves me correctly, it was a nurse who was so overwhelmed because of a battle that, the doctor was giving morphine and their triage was given morphine to see who starts crying first after it. And so eventually she ran out of morphine, but she was too young, too scared, too much in shock to tell the doctor we're out of heroin because all the other patients were lined up right there. So she just kept sailing and handing it to him,
right.
Just, give me some more. And it worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah, it worked.
And that's when they started. That was, I don't know why they called it placebo, but it is less than 80 years old. It's a new thing that if you don't study for it and you don't do a blind study, you're not doing science. And
right.
we didn't even
right. It has to be involved in a study to be legitimate.
What's going on in our brains, Tommy, Ashley?
We have all the power. We have it all within us.
We do. We're electromagnetic, bro. How do we tap into that? Well, Jesus, he's definitely the ultimate, electromagnetic. But what is going on up there, the thoughts. If you think about, I love the thought that our body is made up of water. Right. More water than anything else. And if you write love on a bottle of water and you freeze it, it makes all these pretty crystal patterns. If you write hate on a bottle of water and you freeze it, when you bring it out and it's got these weird, distorted, funky, even a different colored pattern.
Cloudy.
Right. Right.
Wow. And I've done it myself. I've done the experiment.
Oh, you did it? I ain't never done it. I just watched a lot about it, about water memory and how negative and positive words, how they affect water, and we are made up of water. So these words that we read with our eyes, they vibrate inside our body. The words that we hear, the words we say, they vibrate inside of us, and so I think that maybe the placebo thing has a lot to do with it. It's not the pill itself, it's literally
you
like
can impugn. It's what you impugn. You can impugn idea and stuff into water. Yeah, it's called impugning.
Define impugn.
It's like inject it with, embed it in it. You can embed it. Water will take up information.
Right, so water memory.
Yeah, you can impugn love or hate into it. It can be totally distilled and have nothing in it. And you can impugn good or bad into it. And that is on bulk or in minute form. It's just amazing water. It's amazing. Yeah, I've seen all those studies too. And if you I think if we get enough people like these doctors using frequency, and I'm going to push this guy hard. I'm going to show him everything I found. They have chairs you can lay in that have speakers all in them. And, they've got everything. They've got the handheld devices where they can do it local, that Spooky 2 Royal Rife generator. I'm thinking about buying one. They're only about $300. But it's got a little handheld wand, and you can set the frequency to what you need. Oh, my back pain, you sit there and just do direct frequency on it for treatment. And I'm going to try and get this guy to go deep into it. He seems so interested. This may be a good path. Hell, I may get a job doing it for him.
Be cool.
Right?
You're still young. You're still young.
Yeah. Hell, I can sit in a chair and sit there and rub you with a wand.
Right.
With the frequency.
Boom.
I just
Right, with
looked out the
frequency.
window, Tommy. I heard the dogs dusting it up, so I put the spotlight out in the yard to see what they're doing.
Right.
And there's frost on the grass.
You think? A little bit?
Yeah. I had to I even opened the window to make sure it wasn't getting a reflection. Things are going, so we're in southern Texas by the Louisiana border, and I don't know how cold it must be up a little further north. But like I said, when I woke up at 5 o'clock, it was, 66 degrees. And right now it's 49 degrees here in the border of Louisiana. And
Well, on my weather app on my phone, it's 45 in Merkel.
wow.
And out in the mountains of Alpine in the Big Bend country, it's 52.
What in the world happened? We just lost 15 degrees in an hour.
Right. Washington, D.C. is 54.
Huh. Interesting.
Big Spring is 43. Oklahoma, Shawnee, Oklahoma is 46. These are all the places I've been that are on my weather app. So I can just go through each one and see where the temperature is, all these places I've been.
Mm-hmm. That's a smart idea.
I mean,
Yeah,
right.
well,
I mean,
no,
it's
it's
quick
fucking
to look
cool.
around the country.
Look at that. Look at Ashley with her phone. I see a little of that breath. Is this chilly where you are too?
Yeah, look at
Yeah,
her.
man,
She's
I
got
got
her
my
hat.
beanie on. I pulled my beanie out yesterday. I got a big robe on and my jacket. Like I'm telling you, I'm a sissy. I got a flipping flannel shirt on and a skirt with a pair of pajama pants on underneath it. I'm telling you, I don't like that cold, man. I'm a sissy
No.
for
What is
sure.
it, 50 there and you're freezing to death?
I'm freezing.
Once
Like a
I got over
frostbite on my
50
toes.
years old, once I get cold the first time in winter, I stay cold until March.
I stay cold all winter.
Yeah.
I'm that way too, man. I layer up too. People laugh at me all the
Oh,
time.
me
I don't
too.
care. Boy. I won't handle it. I gotta be comfortable in my body while I'm working or doing stuff. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. 46 there in Michigan, says Tony.
Wow, that's what it is here in Texas.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
So y'all are both in Texas, but on different parts.
No, we're the same.
I live in a I live in Tommy's pool house. It's a pool house without a pool.
Oh, okay. So y'all,
You didn't know that?
man, and then y'all get on here to talk to each other.
Yeah.
Well,
Y'all are cute as a button because y'all have that, but that's a great idea, because buddies just sitting around the coffee table, talking about stuff, or the kitchen table, excuse me, that's better. People sit more around the coffee table than the kitchen table anymore. But anyway, dude,
Right.
that's not the point. But buddies sitting around and just having these conversations, truther buddies, just having these conversations. It's cool that you get on here and you do it, even though you're right in his backyard.
Right. Right. He's just right back there.
Mm,
Right back there up in the
that's
loft.
adorable.
But we
Oh,
we noodle out almost everything Alan talks about on his show. We noodle it out during the day and go over it and kick it around and
right now I'm into placebos. I'm into I want to get into the covenant, and we just talk about it, but it's hard to get past. The life keeps getting in the way of, it's like next thing you know, we're surrendering in Afghanistan. I didn't see that coming.
Right.
The Lord is turning all of our hearts. Ashley quoted that verse earlier about, peculiar people and how we're all kings and priests and things like that. And Proverbs 21 verse 1, the Lord turns the king's heart like a river whithersoever he wills. And I don't know, none of us probably saw, COVID coming. None of us saw what's happening in Australia. Nobody knew that all of a sudden there's going to be bottlenecks and container issues, and now we're going to need, you know, and I am predicting, not prophesying, that this is all a big game to hurry up and just get self-driving trucks out there, and then approve self-driving drones, because, oh my goodness, we don't have enough immigrants to man the trucks nowadays. And it's just politics, you know, because we're not going to be raptured anytime soon, and they're just building up to this 24 election as it's going to be the be all end all of the whole world. And in their world, how many midterms do I have to go through to where it's going to be, do you want to control the Supreme Court or not?
Right.
One more time, right?
Right. If we control both houses in Congress and the presidency, we can change the world. We'll make it all better.
Yeah, but like all nations are in the same bed with one another, you know. I mean, all of them, they're in the same bed. All these scientists around the earth, you know, CERN and France, and which they're all, you know, China, and but Oak Ridge, Tennessee, you know what I mean? Like all these places, they got Germans and French and Chinese and Japanese, and look at these dirty knees, you know what I'm saying? Like they got all these folks.
It's the Masons and the Jesuits, man.
Right.
The
Masons
and the Jesuits.
The Masons. See, that's the study I'm on. Oecumeny. It is the Roman Empire in the Bible, where it says like the word world. In the New Testament, it will be this word Oecumeny. Either way, but if you look that word up, it's actually oecumeny.org, and it is the Catholic Church's new world church organization. And it is the Roman Empire in the Bible, you know, when it comes to world. And I just did a study on it on my channel, because it's a big deal. Like this is what he was talking about, you know, in the Word of God, and here they are just throwing it right in our face, naming it the exact.
Hey, I did not know you had a channel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been doing videos for about 3 years, and my yeah.
What is it?
Oh, we wrestle not flesh and blood. We wrestle not flesh and blood.
Well, I have to find you and subscribe to you. I did not know that.
Oh, well, sweet. Well, that's awesome. Wonderful. Yeah, I'm just not, you know, if somebody finds me, it's Jesus that puts them in my heart, you know, puts them up there. You know what I mean? And I just love the word. But that study right there, come to find out, and the Romans and the Greeks, I'm really starting to think that the Romans and the Greeks because it all leads back to Turkey. I'm thinking the Romans and the Greeks are the same people. They're the same exact people. And what they did, because in the book of Maccabees, it talks about how that the Israelites, they were all scared of the Grecians. So they ran to the Romans to save them. And I'm thinking that is the left and the right wing. I'm thinking that is the Democrat and Republican, the Grecians and the Romans.
It's the Western Roman Empire, the Eastern Roman Empire. It's all the same. Not only are the Greeks and the Romans the same, the Etruscans are Greeks and Romans too.
You know what it comes down to? The illusion of choice. The illusion of people are, you know, you can have your own ideologies. It's choice. You have a choice. It's never been a choice.
Where's the illusion? Where's the illusion?
Yeah, two heads on the same snake. You know, it's sad. It's quite the program they run on us. It is,
you know, the iniquity of the fathers.
So if you like cheer, or if you like Tide, or if you like the Bears and you like the Packers, it's no big deal. It don't matter anyway.
Right, because there's nothing made for our entertainment. No music, no television show, no cartoon, no movie, no sports event. Nothing is made for our entertainment. It is all for the programming. I agree 100%.
So we might like it, but it's not.
Well, all entertainment mocks Christianity. All entertainment mocks
You
Christianity.
proved that when you showed me how they just changed the frequency out of malice.
Right.
No reason to change 432 to 440.
Right. None whatsoever. None at all. None at all. It was not harder to tune it to 432. It was not any, you know, it was just evil was the only reason. There was no logical reason to change it.
Right.
None whatsoever.
Not even like we're saving bandwidth, or there was nothing.
Yeah.
We like 440.
Right. And it's, you know, in the long run, we have to realize in the vibration, people got to wake up to that negative vibe. Whether it is, and it is products in the store. When I walk down the chip aisle now, we used to buy the big bag of multi-deal of potato chips, you know, have all the little different bags in it. And I quit eating all that stuff. I've tried to quit any of that. And now I walk down those aisles, I'm just like, ooh, you know, this is all poison. Every bit of it is just dead poison.
We yesterday we got some vegan cheese, right? We're trying to like do vegan meals. They're really good, by the way. But either way, so we get these vegan cheese. Well, I'm reading the back of the package when we get it home. You know, I'm trusting it before I take it out. I will never again. So I read the back and it says that Xanium, it's the XAN something word gum.
Right.
And I'm like, I just read something the other day that had that in it. I started picking up everything in the house, in my refrigerator and stuff. And I'm telling you what, brother, 5 out of 7 had this ingredient in it. So Jason looked it up on the phone, and come to find out, it causes blood sugar issues.
Right.
Causes you to have low blood sugar. Well, here lately, we have met 3 people that have had a child 10 years and younger that have diabetes.
Wow.
Bad diabetes.
Right.
And this very thing, I'm sorry, you know, this is just Ashleyism. I just learned this yesterday, but you know, I haven't done much but from what I've seen so far, and just watching all these young babies getting diabetes, I'm just like, dude, I'm really starting to think that it's in everything. That it's causing these youngins to have diabetes, and older folks, of course. But the babies is what's been, you know, bugging me. Like, they're so young and they're getting this diabetes.
I'm glad you brought that up. Here, let me share something real quick. I've got it pulled up here. Speaking of that, you're going to love this.
Tommy, talk too about what insulin is, because I used to know my children had friends that took insulin really young. What was that all about?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know enough about those kind of things to speak intelligently to it. This right here is about fast food, and this guy did a huge study.
Should go right ahead. But one over an hour.
What did I do? Okay, I started it over.
Good evening, Board.
Let's get to
I
it.
learned during the years that I was doing the research and the reporting about some of the costs of fast food that don't appear on the shiny backlit menus. The future of this gigantic industry. Will McDonald's always be with us? Or will it someday disappear, like American Motors and the Studebaker and Montgomery Ward? I'm not sure it always will be with us. First off, I should tell you a few things in the interest of full disclosure.
Ruger.
Own any stock in health food companies or organic supermarkets. And I'm not a vegetarian. I have a lot of respect for people who decide to become vegetarian for moral or ethical reasons, but I'm not one of them. I've visited some of the nation's biggest meatpacking plants, and I've seen some of the appalling things that are happening inside them, and it didn't make me into a vegetarian. It made me angry, but it didn't make me into a vegetarian. My favorite meal remains a cheeseburger and fries and a chocolate shake, though I haven't had one in a while. I didn't set out to write a muckraking expose about the dark side of the all-American meal. I've eaten at McDonald's since I was a kid. I used to take my children to McDonald's and buy them Happy Meals, but I don't anymore. This book started as an assignment for Rolling Stone magazine. The editors asked me to look at America through its fast food, to go behind the counter and find out how this gigantic system that produces our fast food operates. These editors believed, and I wholeheartedly agree, that you can tell a lot about a country by what it eats and how it eats. When I took this assignment, I really didn't know anything about fast food. Like most people, I ate it, but never really thought about it. When I started this investigation, I had no idea how big and how powerful and how influential this industry has become. Now, of course, I knew that fast food isn't good for you. And I suspected that there was something fundamentally different about it. I think most of us realize that almost instinctively. Fast food tastes great while you're eating it, but then there's always this moment about 20 minutes after you're done where there's some aftertaste and you wonder, what did I just eat? The real turning point in my research was when someone gave me a pile of confidential documents from a McDonald's advertising campaign. The basic thinking behind this campaign seemed incredibly cynical and manipulative to me. There was really nothing cheery and happy about how they were planning to get parents and their children into their restaurants. And then I visited Greeley, Colorado, and I saw firsthand what's happening in the nation's meatpacking communities. And that's when this story became much darker for me. The Rolling Stone article ran in 2 parts, and it was very tough on this industry. Jan Winter, the editor of the magazine, never pressured me to tone the article down or cut things out or play it safe. And we never got sued by an industry that very much likes to sue its critics. But I felt after the article had run that there was a great deal I hadn't been able to include, and that I'd really only scratched the surface of this industry and its enormous influence, not just on America, but on the rest of the world. What we eat and how our food is produced has changed more in the last 30 years than in the previous 30,000, without most of us realizing it. Today's fast food may look like food that we've always been eating. It's really something quite different. It has been radically transformed. You have to look at fast food as though it's a manufactured industrial commodity, something much more like a toaster oven than like something that you would make from scratch and eat in your own kitchen. The fact is that we are now such an urban and suburbanized nation that most of us really have no idea how our food is made or where it comes from. Most of us have no idea what's going on at the farms and the ranches and the slaughterhouses and the processing plants that now feed us. And I think it's very important for people to know. Our great cities could not exist without the agricultural surplus of the countryside. New York City could not exist. Los Angeles, Chicago, they would not exist without the hard work and the ingenuity of America's ranchers and farmers. That sounds corny, but it's the truth, and it's something that's easily forgotten in the year 2001. What happens on our farms and what happens to our farmers directly affects the rest of us.
That's the year that changed everything, 2001.
Civilization has been made possible by agricultural surpluses. This is what allows some people to move off the land and live in cities. This is what allows government and science and the arts to flourish. We have lost sight of that basic fact of how the city and the suburb is fundamentally dependent on what's happening in the countryside. There is no industry more important than agriculture. No other industry can survive without agriculture. 100 years ago, most people knew this. Most people either lived on a farm or had close relatives that lived on a farm. If you wanted a chicken for dinner, you had to go outside and grab one, chop off its head, pluck it, cook it.
That's right.
Now, some kids may find this hard to believe, but once upon a time, there were no chicken McNuggets.
Mm.
And in those days, there was something healthy and proper about being aware and being connected, directly connected to your food supply.
That's huge, right?
Yeah, they forgot one step. You have to, when you're going to pluck a chicken and you want to eat something, like say you shot a pheasant, you have to, I don't know if what they call it, blanching it, but whatever we used to call it, molt it. You have to put it in boiling water.
Right.
And then the feathers just come right off. It's not like a big deal.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, but
that's left out a step there.
You know, that's a
he
really
did leave out a step, but I love that he went to the extreme, because I mean that's a fact, Jack. You know that there are some that didn't do the whole boiling water thing, and I watched them myself. You know, pulling the feathers right off, and it'd take a long time, but they'd work it.
Oh man, I can pluck a chicken in a minute.
Right. Go back and watch that whole video. He gets into
the industry. Put the link in your.
He gets into the industry of processed foods, and how right down the road from where he's at in New Jersey is a flavor processing plant, and it processes flavorings for everything.
I wrote down The Jungle by Upton Sinclair because I'm going to be probably mentioning that book this afternoon, because this man and the movement that this obviously inspired, because there is an anti-McDonald's movement that isn't Christian. It reminds me of Upton Sinclair because he made the same connection back before World War I, and it brought the world into a frenzy of what are they doing in the meat packing business?
Right.
They were feeding the people during the industrial age, where they needed the people, ranchers and farmers, to contribute to the city. And that's what they're doing now, but they want to make it robotic. So there's some connection there where they're outraged about the food again, because I think the main problem is we're supposed to be in super cities or independent cities, tribes, taking care of ourselves, not producing food or energy on an industrial level.
Well, but think about what he said. Our diet has changed more in the last 30 years than over the last 3,000 plus. He said 30,000, but we know there's not that many of them. But more than the last 3,000 years. And that's what I always talk about. Only in my lifetime, what I've observed, it's just been downhill. It's just been downhill. And there's another example, the fast food industry. That was introduced in our lifetimes, my parents and mine. And just my lifetime, it was just hammered. It was, man, every kid, I want to go to McDonald's. I want to go to McDonald's. Let's go to McDonald's. Everybody wanted to go. I mean, they just, wow, what a brainwashing, what a psyop. And when you watch this deal, he goes into their food and how it has zero redeeming value, how they make all their money on the drinks. The drinks are where they make all their money. They don't make it on their burgers and their fries. They make good money on that, but their drinks is like through the roof. And it's like, we know America's obese. Why did they introduce supersizing? Well, because they needed you to consume more and more value to you. It's a psyop. You're like, hell yeah, I'll take 32 ounces for 10 cents more, And it's just, they give you 20 more French fries and an extra large. It didn't cost them 2 pennies, 2 cents for those fries, But they're poisoning you faster, and they're making more money.
Well, I mean, Adam and Eve,
Yeah.
the curse was given to Adam. You will sweat from your brow and you will work in thorns and thistles. And look, they have taken us away from sweating from our brow. Or no, they hadn't completely taken us away. There are ones out there that still
No.
sweat from their brow and work in thorns and thistles, and dig them weeds up out of their garden and kill their own animals and stuff. But we have been removed. They're over time they have programmed the natural way of man and woman and how we are to be, how we're to live every day, what we're to put our hands on, what we're to think about, what we're to plan. This is how we're and thanking our Father and the animals around us, listening to us, hearing us, praising our King while we're working, being kind to them and
Yeah.
gentle to them, that, like, dude, oh my goodness, it hurts my heart seeing how far away and whoever, I think it was you, Tommy, talking about children don't even know. They ain't ever been to no slaughterhouse. They've never seen an animal being killed,
No
and
idea
they
what
don't.
it takes. Yep.
Right.
I got to tell Alan all the time, we're indoor cats now. We're
Indoor
domesticated.
cats.
We're indoor cats. We can't take care of ourselves. We can't fend for ourselves anymore. We can't take it out, in the elements. We're indoor cats. They have
That's
to
a good
feed
way
us
to
and
live.
house us and, protect us.
It's sad but true.
It is.
Yeah, that's an excellent
We don't have
way
to
to
like it,
All right. Well, guys, everybody's starting to move around here. Any
Have
last
a blessed
words?
day, y'all.
Go ahead, Ashley. Any last words?
Oh no, I just love y'all so much. I'm glad to be able to
Thanks.
just
Love you too. Glad you came
tune
on.
in with you.
I'll go
Yeah.
subscribe to your channel.
10-4, good
Yeah,
buddy.
I will too.
All right, Alan.
Oh, I
I'll
love
see you
you.
shortly, bud.
All right.
Later.
Talk to you soon.
All right. Night, everybody.
Thanks, Ashley.
Or good afternoon. Everybody have a good day. Love you all. Good vibrations, discernment. And just, don't comply. You don't have to comply. Y'all take care, guys.